The Canadian landscape is currently a battlefield of extreme meteorological forces, with a relentless, multi-hazard weather event stretching from the rain-lashed Pacific coast to the frozen frontiers of the Arctic. We are witnessing a historic atmospheric river that refuses to release its grip on British Columbia, while simultaneously the interior of the country and the Atlantic provinces grapple with wind gusts exceeding 100 kilometers per hour and life-threatening wind chills plunging toward minus 45 degrees. This is not a localized incident, but a coordinated atmospheric assault that has placed nearly every region of the country under high-level alerts. For British Columbia in particular, the situation is increasingly dire as the most dangerous phase of this event is still on the horizon, with the heaviest precipitation expected to peak between Thursday night and Friday morning, threatening to push already stressed river systems past their breaking point. Starting on the west coast, British Columbia is currently the epicenter of national concern due to a concentrated corridor of subtropical moisture that has become stationary over the south coast. Environment Canada has issued over 15 active weather alerts, with West Vancouver Island under a critical orange rainfall warning. Since Sunday, some mountain locations have already recorded a staggering 300 millimeters of rain, 3 times the typical monthly average for March, and the deluge is far from over. A significant concern for the Central Coast and regions near Rivers Inlet is the elevated freezing level, which has peaked at 2,500 meters. This means that instead of snow, heavy rain is falling even at the highest peaks, causing rapid snowmelt to pour into valleys and river basins. This combination of extreme runoff and saturated soil has created a high-risk environment for flash flooding and landslides, particularly in areas near steep slopes or recent burn scars. As we move inland toward Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley, the situation remains precarious. The North Shore and regions, including Coquitlam and Maple Ridge, are under yellow rainfall warnings, with totals already exceeding 120 millimeters. While there may be brief lulls in the downpour, the moisture will intensify significantly this afternoon and persist through Friday. Residents are urged to avoid low-lying roads where water pooling is inevitable, and drivers in the Fraser Valley should prepare for up to 100 millimeters of additional rain near the mountains. Meanwhile, along the sea-to-sky highway, the transition from rain to snow is creating treacherous travel conditions. With freezing levels hovering near 2,200 meters, heavy rain is falling on existing snowpack, which could lead to sudden washouts or road erosion. Further east, along the Icefields Parkway between Jasper and the Saskatchewan River crossing, a yellow snowfall warning is active, with up to 30 centimeters expected at high elevations like Sunwapta Pass, making mountain travel extremely challenging. Shifting focus to the prairies, Alberta is facing a different but equally hazardous threat in the form of destructive Chinook-driven winds. No fewer than 16 yellow wind warnings are in effect across southern Alberta, encompassing Cardston County, Pincher Creek, and Crow's Nest Pass. Westerly gusts have already topped 100 kilometers per hour, and a secondary surge of wind is expected to peak late this morning. These conditions are particularly dangerous for high-sided vehicles and can cause significant property damage or power outages. While the winds are expected to moderate by early evening, the sheer force of these gusts necessitates extreme caution for anyone traveling on major highways in the south. The atmosphere over the prairies is currently characterized by high energy and rapid shifts, typical of the transition into spring, but amplified by the current continental pressure gradients. In central Canada, the narrative is dominated by a brutal return to Arctic conditions. Northern Ontario is currently shivering under yellow cold warnings, with communities like Fort Severn and Peewinuk seeing wind chills near minus 45 degrees. At these temperatures, frostbite can occur on exposed skin within minutes, and hypothermia is a constant risk for those not properly sheltered. To exacerbate the situation, a low-pressure system tracking across the north is bringing 15 centimeters of fresh snow and blowing conditions to areas like Marathon and Wawa. This system is expected to clear by Thursday morning, but until then, visibility will remain poor on regional roads. The cold is also creeping into Quebec, where wind chills are dipping to minus 38 degrees in areas like Chibougamau, while coastal regions along the lower St. Lawrence are bracing for 90-kilometer-per-hour gusts that could disrupt local power grids. The most severe winter conditions, however, are reserved for northern Quebec and the Nunavik region, where blizzard conditions are currently raging. Orange blizzard warnings are active for Akulaavik, Ivujivik, and Saluit, where high northerly winds and heavy snow have reduced visibility to absolute zero. Travel in these northern communities is currently impossible and life-threatening. The official guidance is to remain indoors and avoid all outdoor activities until the system tracks northeast later today. Even in areas under yellow blizzard warnings, such as Kuujjuaq, the hazardous conditions are expected to persist through the morning hours. The sheer intensity of this Arctic system highlights the divide between the thawing south and the frozen north, creating a complex logistical challenge for regional transport and emergency services. The Atlantic provinces are rounding out this multi-hazard event with a mix of heavy rain, extreme cold, and flash freeze threats. On the island of Newfoundland, the Conagra Peninsula is under an orange rainfall warning as melting snow and heavy rain threaten to wash out roads and flood low-lying communities. Across the water in Labrador, the situation is even more volatile. Labrador City is facing minus 45-degree wind chills, while the coast is being hammered by 100-kilometer-per-hour southwesterly gusts. Perhaps the most deceptive hazard is the special weather statement for the coast from Cartwright to Black Tickle, where a rapid freeze is occurring. As temperatures plummet this morning, standing water from yesterday's melt is flash freezing into treacherous black ice, making any movement on foot or by vehicle extremely dangerous. Looking ahead at the next 72 hours, the national focus must remain firmly on British Columbia. While the winds in Alberta and the blizzards in the north will begin to subside, the atmospheric river over the west coast is entering its most impactful phase. The sheer volume of water expected to fall Thursday night into Friday morning is unprecedented for this time of year, and with freezing levels remaining high, the threat of catastrophic flooding remains a distinct possibility. We are closely monitoring the Fraser River and Vancouver Island watersheds for any signs of breaching. This is a rapidly evolving situation where timing and intensity can shift with little notice. It is essential to stay tuned to updated local alerts and maintain an emergency kit, as this week has proven that the Canadian climate is capable of delivering its most severe punches from every direction at once.